town board meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dolly, if you could do roll call, please.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Here.
Councilman Abbott?
Here.
Councilman Dean?
Here.
Councilman Cahill?
Here.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Present.
Town Attorney Genesi?
Present.
And everybody heard that Councilman Abbott is here. The man is not a person to be reckoned with. I'm glad you're back, Bill, and earlier than we thought.
Bionic.
Yes, you are. What was Steve Austin? Was that the band?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right.
I can't run that fast.
No, you know. Okay, well, this is the part of the meeting where is there anybody that would like to take the podium for up to 5 minutes to talk about anything they
There's a
have?
gentleman behind the post raising his hand.
Really?
Well, probably for you.
Oh, darn post.
Hello, is that on?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Bob Schlegel, 270 Colorado Drive. For each of the last several months, it seems as though our town leadership have found a time and place where egos have crept in, getting in the way of rational thinking. Living in a town that is at the top of the list of the number of parks among others in Monroe County, have we allowed good sense to take a priority in the promotion of good government going forward, especially in a time where some of the residents have great difficulty trying to balance their economic hardships? Have we burdened these folks who were here long before we arrived out of being able to continue living in Webster? In this difficult time of such an upsurge in energy costs, particularly for the estimated monthly estimate heating charges this winter, probably the highest in modern era, some will be forced to make very harsh decisions. Are we on a journey here which will take us on a path of spending to oblivion, similar to what we see now taking place in the federal level with its present administration and incomparable spending spree of mega proportions? With the added costs in this budget reflecting some unusual increases in salaries, especially at the top tiers, as well as a monumental benefits package, they've bloated its substance in a word. Specifically, there are $2 million in-house benefits, a $104,000 increase, $3.3 million out-of-house benefits, a $165,000 increase, and nearly $2.7 million police benefits, a $187,000 increase, with the addition of costly upgrades to the sewer system, and then we want to burden the taxpayers with an unnecessary park, regardless of the financial easement due to grants to this town. Has any forethought gone into any of this, since there remains upgrades, maintenance costs, as well as security and operational costs going forward, which will continue to add costs to the debit side of the ledger? Better financial responsibility might resolve some of these issues that now confront those having difficulty managing their budgets and those evils we call taxes. Wouldn't a more responsible solution be to resort our priorities? We must keep those in mind that we might be pricing out of existence, since their tax obligations go far beyond what they must do within the borders of this town, your taxes and those of the school district. I hate to see what their obligations to the states will be, even with the daily issues of general costs of all products increasing as well. It's my opinion that the board needs to reevaluate the benefits side of the equation. If the higher paid employees is getting things in a benefits package they call that have a Cadillac attachment, maybe they need to pay the portion of it that differs from that of the next lower tier coverage. Additionally, when ideas of projects crop up again, which are going to be costly to the community, those who are in reality the bank of your living wage, instead of having public hearing to get the opinions of so few, many of who are unable to attend because of family obligations, in order to determine the minimal opinion base for such a project, it would behoove you to get everyone's opinion at the voting booth. Don't we deserve that choice? For we are paying for it. ultimately and beyond that. There are many in this town who were once complacent to their financial obligations to live here, who are beginning to speak to others about what I'll call project ego. Many have had enough of it, and some are unwilling to speak up for fear of retaliation. However, there will soon come a time where so many more will have their fill of this nonsense, where being wiser outweighs other things. Throwing legacy in with the trash is a much better decision going forward. Otherwise, your taxpayers will call for some major changes in the budget, which will, in my opinion, make us much less safe and secure in Webster. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Is there anybody else that would like to take the podium during this time? Okay, then we will move on to the next agenda item. We have 3 sets of minutes considered for approval tonight. I have gone through all of them, and I will start out by saying I make a motion to approve the October 7th, 2021 board minutes.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
I would also make a motion that we approve the October, no, I will not. I was not in attendance.
I would move that we approve the October 14th, 2021 workshop minutes as submitted.
Second.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Abstain.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Abstain. And I would make a motion that we approve the October 21st, 2021 town board meeting minutes.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Abstain.
And, geez, I think I'd get better at this. Patty, was it you?
No, it was me.
Darn it, very sorry.
I looked at all the bills I went through them all this past week and found everything to be in order. Had a few questions, got them answered, and I move that we approve the bills as submitted. Second.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
And I've reviewed the prepaid warrants as submitted by the Director of Finance and make a motion that we approve those.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
You know, it's funny, the next agenda item is, addresses the adoption of the 2022 calendar year, fiscal year, which is the same for us, right, Dolly?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
2022 final budget, and it's just kind of funny, looking at that resolution, it's not many words for a process that is incredibly robust, and it comes down to that motion. So before I make a motion, is there any comments, questions by the town board members on this?
I don't have any.
Patty?
No.
Okay. Barry?
I'm good.
Bill?
No, all set.
And I'll open it up. We have some department heads here. Rick, Art, Dolly, Paul?
Yeah, well, this is the conclusion of a 6-month process. We started back in May, and I think it went well. We got input from all the department heads and the board members, and ended up coming in just under the tax cap. So in that respect, it's a success. I actually did file the tax cap calculation yesterday. You're required to file it before the budget is approved final. If
Right.
something changes, then you'd have to amend it. So it's all filed, and we're squared away with New York State.
Great. And then Mary and Josh, anything to add or say? So I'll just leave it with this. This is the last, was it all been this week, Paul, that we've been doing the third quarter 2021 budget to actual
Yeah.
meetings with the liaisons and the department heads?
We're just wrapping those up this week.
And I think the one thing I've gleaned from all those meetings up till now is that we're doing well this year.
We are.
and we're ahead of budget on revenues, and we have less expenses than what you would expect, actual through 3 quarters. And
That's
I
the
think
way it's
that's a
looking.
testament to what I've said, this board did long before I got here, is conservative budgeting. And that's how you end up with actual numbers that end up being at budget or better. And we're on our way to that in '21, and I certainly hope we will do the same in '22. So without any other discussion on this, I make a motion to adopt the 2022 final budget for the town of Webster.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Art and Rick, is this you? Yes, sir. Are you here to say something up front about this, or just here to answer any questions that the board may have on this next resolution?
Kind of just the last step to get in line for the grant money, for the WE
Yeah.
grant. It's kind of the final step.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, and this has been well documented, you guys broke the record, I said the Joe Damasio hitting streak of like 9 board meetings in a row for this project. The New York State WIA grant portal opened up. I think we have to have our application in by November 12th.
22nd.
Is it the 22nd?
22nd.
I knew there was a 2 in there. So this resolution is part of, making sure that we're in the right position to apply for that,
Yes.
that grant process. So, any comments, questions from the board on this?
No, this is just crossing another T and dotting another I.
Yeah. Barry, Bill?
No.
Okay. So I make a motion authorizing the town board to approve submission of a New York State Wastewater Infrastructure Improvement Act, betterly known as WIA, grant application for the town of Webster wastewater district improvements.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Is this Mary and Josh, the
Excuse
next
me,
2,
Supervisor.
or?
Still got to do the seeker.
Supervisor, Rick may have caught something here. It says Town of Webster wastewater district improvements. I don't believe it should say district. I don't know
Mine
if that's
says-
reflected in the resolution.
Our resolution says infrastructure.
Infrastructure Improvements Act.
For the Town of Webster wastewater district improvements.
Because that's what it said on the title. That's why.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, the devil is in the details, so let's make sure we have this correct. I'd hate to have New York State trip us up on a technicality. So Charlie, well, Town of Webster wastewater district improvements.
You wanted to say district facility
I don't
improvements?
think we're a district, that's,
No,
I
no,
just want to
district.
make
Just
sure that,
district.
we're not a
Yeah,
district.
so you could strike district from it. It's a Webster wastewater improvements.
Yeah.
Take
Correct,
district
correct,
out?
Charlie?
Take district out.
Yes, take
Yes.
district
Take
out.
district out.
Yep, you're right.
So, you got that, Dolly?
I do.
Because I want to make sure that the final is papered up the correct way. All righty. Okay, now,
Thanks for catching that, Rick.
yep. Josh and Mary, am I looking down to you guys for any explanation, or just here to answer any questions from the board, or you want to just describe the next 2?
Yeah, I can give a short synopsis of agenda item number 4. So this is to amend the seeker determination for the ready projects. In preparation of the seeker for the Sandbar Park project, we were reviewing the seeker determination that was made for the ready projects last year, and it came to our attention that
a component of the project was never referenced in the seeker, so this action tonight is essentially to cover the fact that there will be buildings demolished at the site of the Ready projects and Sandbar Park. So this amendment doesn't require a public hearing. If the board passes this resolution, we will forward it on to all of the involved agencies and post it in the environmental notice bulletin, just to make sure that all of our affairs are in order.
Thank you, Josh.
Okay. Any questions, comments from the board on that? All right.
Should that be read?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, thank you, Barry. I was thinking that too. So this, making a motion of the Webster Town Board amending a negative determination of significance of action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, better known as SEEKR. At a regular meeting of the Webster Town Board of the Town of Webster, Monroe County, held at the Town Board Room on the 4th day of November 2021, where all board members were present. The following resolution was offered by Supervisor Flaherty. Whereas Resolution Number 158 of 2020, the Town Board has declared itself to be a lead agency for any purpose, including inter alia.
Inter alia.
Latin?
Among others.
Sure. The Sandbar Park project is part of the Lake Ontario Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative, collectively known as the READY projects. As set forth in Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, also known as the State Environmental Quality Review Act, known as SEEKR. And whereas the projects have been classified as a Type 1 action as defined by the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and whereas pursuant to SEEKR regulations, the Town of Webster Board has considered the significance of potential environmental impacts of the projects by A, using the criteria specified in Section 617.7 of the SEEKR regulations, and B, examining the FEAF for the projects, including the facts and conclusions in Parts 1, 2, and 3 of the FEF, together with other available supporting information to identify the relevant areas of environmental concern. And whereas the Town Board of Webster established itself as lead agency in having assessed the environmental significance of proposed action known as the READY projects, and whereas that based upon the examination of the FEAF and other valuable supporting information in considering both the magnitude and importance of each relevant area of the surrounding projects, the Town of Webster Town Board makes the determination that the projects will not have a significant adverse environmental impact, and the projects will not require the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. And whereas that as a consequence of such findings and declaration and in compliance with the requirements of SEEKR, the Town of Webster Town Board as lead agency directed the Town of Webster supervisor to sign the FEAF Part 3 determination of significance, indicating the negative declaration has been issued for all the named READY projects. And whereas it has been brought to the attention of the consultants and engineers that the building housing a pub currently existing upon the area designated as Sandbar Park will need to be demolished. And whereas the Town Board as lead agency has determined that the demolition of the pub will not have further significant adverse environmental impact, and whereas pursuant to 6 NYC-RR Section 617.7, subchapter E1, a previously declared negative declaration issued on May 7th, 2020 may be amended where inter alia, a change in circumstances related to the project arise, which was not previously considered. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board hereby declares the demolition of the pub building at said park for the purpose of effectuating the READY projects to be a continuation of the previously determined Type 1 action and does not have significant adverse impact of environment based on the criteria set forth in Section 617.7 of the SEEKR regulations.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Josh?
Okay, so the next one is the SEEKR determination of significance for the Sandbar Park Improvement Project, which is obviously very heavily coordinated with the READY projects. So Just a short recap. At the end of September, the town board declared itself as lead agency for this project for the purpose of environmental review. So the town sent letters to all interested and involved agencies, including New York State DEC, Army Corps of Engineers, OGS, DASNY, all of the various state funding agencies, as well as Monroe County. We did receive 2 letters back indicating they had no issue with the town board assuming the lead agency status. So tonight is basically to button up the environmental review process and make a declaration of environmental determination of significance for the Sandbar Park project.
Yeah,
Sure. Okay, any questions, comments? All right, I hope you like my melodic voice, because I'm going to read this one too. Propose a motion of the Webster Town Board determining that the Webster Sandbar Park Waterfront Improvements Project is a type 1 action and will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. At a regular town board meeting of the Webster Town Board, Town of Webster, on the 4th day of November 2021, all town board members were present. The following resolution was offered up by Supervisor Flaherty. Whereas the Town of Webster is proposing improvements to Sandbar Park located in near Lake Road, Town of Webster, Monroe County, New York, and within the New York State Heritage Areas, Erie Canal Corridor, and whereas the improvement project is concurrent with the Ready Infrastructure Improvements Project, which will be completed simultaneously, specifically Ready Project MO56, Lake Road, Ready Project MO59, Flood Wall, and Ready Project MO78, Pump Station Protection. And whereas the projects have been classified as a Type 1 action as defined by the State Environmental Quality Act, known as SEQR, in 6 NYCRR Part 617.4, and whereas the Town of Webster Town Board sent a letter in Part 1 of the Full Environmental Assessment Form, FEAF, to the other potential interested agencies and involved agencies as these terms are defined in the SEQR regulations found at 6 NYCRR Part 617.2 on October 1st, 2021, and to complete a coordinated review and of the project, and whereas electronic copies of the coordinated review materials were sent to interested and involved agencies on October 1st, 2021 to ensure the documents were received. And whereas responses from the interested and involved agencies were requested and each of the potentially interested and involved agencies have agreed to or raised no objection to the Town of Webster Town Board serving as the lead agency for the project. And whereas pursuant to the SEQR regulations, the Town of Webster Town Board has considered the significance of the potential environmental impacts of the project by A, using the criteria specified in 617.7 of the SEQR regulations, and B, examining the FEAF for the project, including the facts and conclusions in Part 1, 2, and 3 of the FEAF, together with other available supporting information to identify the relevant areas of environmental concern. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Webster Board hereby establishes itself as the lead agency for the project. Be it further resolved that based upon the examination of the FEAF and the other valuable supporting information, and considering both the magnitude and importance of each relevant area of the environmental concern, and based further upon the town's knowledge of the area surrounding the project, the Town of Webster Town Board makes the determination that the project will not have a significant adverse environmental impact and that the project will not require the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. Be it further resolved that as a consequence of such findings and declaration, and in compliance with the requirements of SEQR, the Town of Webster Town Board as lead agency hereby directs the Town of Webster Supervisor to sign the FEAF Part 3, determination of significance indicating that negative declaration has been issued for the project. This resolution shall take place effective immediately and will be properly noticed.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Paul, I think the next two are your bailiwick.
The next 2 are bond resolutions. The first one is a $4 million resolution. That has to do with flood mitigation down the Sandbar Park area. This particular piece of the project is supported by ready grants of about $2.4 million. The resolution is to raise money via serial bonds up to $4 million, but in reality, it will most likely be closer to 1.6 because we have the 2.4 million in ready grants. Resolution, the additional resolution for $5.5 million in bond issues is for the Sandbar Park Plan improvements. The reason there are two resolutions is because the flood mitigation piece has a 30-year period of probable usefulness, and the park improvements has a 15-year period of probable usefulness. So it has to be split into two resolutions.
Okay, why? No. Yeah, and I will say this, a couple things before we vote on the next two resolutions, to add on to what Paul Adams, our finance director, just explained. Number one, we found out within this process, and somewhat surprising, is that the terms of the bonds are not 30 years. Are they 15, Paul?
That was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
The parkland improvements are 15 years. The flood mitigation is 30 years.
Right.
So the 4 million is 30 years, the 5.5 million is 15 years.
And again, sorry, we don't expect that to be 4 million, but we're giving the
Correct.
top number.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there are other additional grant funds that we've applied for, which we haven't heard on yet, which could reduce the 5.5.
Yeah. And Patty, along those lines, is that the 4 million for the sandbar drainage and flood protection, which really is tied to the READY projects, right, Paul?
Yes.
And, you know, I'm still learning at this job. I know that I found this out during the sewer project, is even though we already know we got $2.4 million in grants on this thing, we can't go down to saying, well, we only need to bond 1.6.
Correct.
The way the law works, you have to go to the top line number.
Yes.
Even though we know we have the 2.4 from READY, from the state of New York. I know at the public meeting last week, there was some discussion like, well, how do we get to 2.4? I thought it was 2.6. Well, the building that is being demolished, the Bayside Pub building, the new building, which we're hoping is going to be another pub restaurant, $200,000 of that READY grant from DASNY, I think it was apportioned to the building.
It's actually a separate DASNY grant over and above READY. And
Right.
we actually secured it several years ago.
Yep. And so, you know, we don't know how much that building is gonna cost. A lot of that will have to do with, as Chris Bilo and the RFP committee that is discerning, you know, what the restaurant bar is gonna be like, and whoever ends up winning that bid, so to speak, will have a lot of influence on, you know, how much, what the building is gonna look like and cost, and that'll give us a better idea of, you know, how much we need to bond for that building, because these two bonds that aggregate to $9.5 million do not include the building. And that is the third thing, is that we found out through this process that because the intention of the building is to be a private industry, a public-private partnership, where the public, being the town of Webster, is the, I'll call it the landlord, because we own the land, we own Sandbar Park. If we are leasing it out to a restaurant bar, that is called a licensing agreement, right, Charlie? That's a public-private partnership.
Actually, an operating agreement would be more like it, yes.
Yep, and our bond counsel let us know that that is a different kind of bond than a typical municipal bond that we are going for with these two resolutions tonight. The traditional municipal bond, you can't have a public-private partnership within that. The building is intended to be something that there will be a public-private partnership in. And that bond is somewhat of a hybrid, Paul, where the
Yes.
interest is federally taxed?
Yes, the interest on the building portion would actually be federal and state taxable, whereas a typical municipal bond, it's tax-free, federal and New York State.
Yep. So, at the risk of TMI on what I just described, I think the board is very aware of everything about this project. This is something where we've had the placards all over town, at the rec center, the library, 4 open houses, a public meeting last week. There's a lot of support, a lot of people are very excited about that. There are people that are very interested in this building portion. And it came out at the public meeting last week that, we don't know if you guys intend to put a bar or restaurant down there. There is no reason why we would not bond this whole thing for $11 million if we were not intending to put a bar or restaurant down there. These aggregate would be 11 million. We cobbled out $1.5 million from all the presentations because our intent through an RFP committee is to put a bar or restaurant down there. That's going to be a public-private partnership. That's going to necessitate a different type of bond, and we don't know what that bond size is going to be because we don't know who the winning bidder is going to be and what their vision is and how much they're going to put up front into this building at the risk of TMI. So with all that being said, because Bill, I said I wouldn't have you here that long tonight because you're a trooper, you came. I don't want to keep you for 3 hours. I would like to make a motion to bond up to $4 million for the Sandbar Park drainage and flood protection improvements.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Son of a gun, Bill, I hate to say this, I forgot one other thing about this. Within the next month, we should know about the $4 million in aggregate CFA grant applications that we have on this project. So that would be another source of funds that would actually go against what we're bonding.
You may want to say what a CFA means.
I think it's consolidated funding application. In New York State, because there's about 70,000 different ways you can get grants from them, they've at least made it easier on a municipality where you can fill out one form like in a portal, Josh, and it's a consolidated funding application. When Josh, I don't know if this was you and/or Matt that did this, Matt Chatfield,
For the particular, for which project?
for the sandbar.
Sandbar.
Oh, for the sandbar, yeah, it was Matt.
It was Matt Chatfield. And I think there are 3 different specific grant opportunities that he went for. I know a lot of it was about energy,
Green infrastructure.
green infrastructure. The aggregate of the 3 was like 3.99 million. I won't split hairs. It was a $4 million aggregate grant application. The way the state has historically ruled on those, we should know within the month if we're getting $1 or if we're getting $4 million. The more that we get to go along with the $2.4 million in ready, it's kind of simple math. We're bonding $9.5 million, up to $9.5 million tonight. The ready at 2.4, along with whatever we get from the CFA, would be that much less we have to bond ultimately when we move forward on the project. So, again, at the risk of TMI. With that being said, I also am making a motion to bond up to $5.5 million for the Sandbar Park parkland improvements.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Is this you, Art?
Connection for sewer.
So Supervisor, what this is a resident at 875 Phillips Road, which is outside of the town sewer collection system. They are a town resident, though. They have petitioned to tie into the village line. This does happen from time to time. I've spoken to the village. They approve of this. Obviously, this is great for the environment. We get another person off of septic, and it's failing, theirs is failing, and gets them onto a collection system. So the village then bills us on an annual basis, and we pay the village back for that fee, for approximately $130.
Any questions, comments? No?
Do you have any idea how many we have like that?
Not many, but I don't have a number for you.
Okay.
How's that?
We have some the other way too, right?
We absolutely do, yeah.
You mean coming our way?
Village
Yeah.
Yeah.
residents are hooked into town.
Sure.
So the village will also put this in front of their town board for approval.
Okay. So I make a motion to allow property at 875 Phillips Road with tax parcel ID number 080.02-1-4 in the town of Webster to hook up to the Village of Webster sewer line as an out-of-district town user.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Charlie, besides giving us a Latin lesson, can you give a brief explanation of the next
I
one?
would be glad to. This is, this resolution, proposed resolution is based on the request of mine to settle a series of tax certiorari, that is assessment review Supreme Court cases involving AMF bowling centers, which is Empire Lanes, most of us know, 5 years of lawsuits involving their assessment. We have been in negotiations for some time. I have sent out a memo to each of the town board members explaining my reasoning for the proposed settlement and what the settlement consists of. Basically, we are going to they're going to discontinue 2 of the years. We are going to lower retroactively 2 of the years, but not by much. And what it's going to end up is that we will owe refunds in the amount, a total amount of $2,047.48. The school district is also going to be submitting a similar resolution to the Webster Central School District Board. Their refund obviously will be much greater, but this was negotiated by myself, by counsel for the school district and counsel for the petitioner. The assessor has gone along with this. I also want to thank the assessor and the town clerk for assisting in calculating the refunds, because this gets complicated. And basically, we're doing this because, be blunt, this is a bowling alley. It's a very unusual type of a business. There are very few people that can do appraisals on this, and if we ever had to get an appraiser, we're probably talking from the get-go probably $15,000 in appraisal fees alone. That's not including a trial, if we go to trial. We usually try to avoid trials in these matters anyway. We drag them out as long as we can. If we have to go to trial, we do, but we try to see how far we can push. And in this case, I think we got a very, very good result. So I strongly recommend this result and this settlement.
Thank you, Charlie.
Any questions, comments, or anything? Okay, I make a motion to approve a settlement of a tax certiorari. Did I say that?
You did.
For AMF Bowling Center for the years 2017 to 2021 in the amount of $2,047.48.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
All right, I think this one stands on its own without explanation. This is the last formal item of the evening. I make a motion to declare the following item as an asset transfer from the Webster Department of Public Works to the Webster Police Department, a four-drawer beige file cabinet, asset number 03377.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
All right, now, Councilman Abbott, before you stand up, because I don't want you to do any used energy on this one. Roundtable real quick, we'll see if anybody calls in the next 2 or 3 minutes from home for the thousands that are watching, Dolly, I know it. They're watching on TV, they're watching live stream, they're watching Facebook. But, Charlie, I would like to have the board enter into executive session.
You have discussed with me what it is. It does involve the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property by the town. Therefore, the request would be for an executive session pursuant to 105 of the Public Officers Laws, Section 1, Subdivision H. And I presume that I would be the one non-board member.
And Paul Adams.
And Paul
our
Adams,
finance
sorry. So the
director.
two of us would be the invitees.
Yes. And so as we wait on the calls, before we close down to the public in the room and also to people watching on TV,
But we need a motion, I think. for that.
we will.
Yeah,
do a
okay.
motion at
All right, I'm
that
sorry.
point. But just, we'll do kind of our go-around. Rick, anything?
I do want to comment on the budget process. I was involved with my previous employer's budget processes, and I was impressed with this one. Much more in-depth, more involved with the departments, and I thought it was a good process.
And
So
Rick, you're
kudos
talking that you
to
worked
the
for
board
the
and
city
to
of
the town.
Rome for
City of
many
Rome.
years, and not exactly a small municipality.
No,
So, thank you.
but it was impressive, so.
Art?
Yeah, actually, I would like to recognize my staff and our partners. Last week we had almost 5 inches of rain. Tuesday night we had 2 stations that were in trouble. The staff worked from from 3:30 on Tuesday afternoon until almost 3 in the morning on Wednesday. They were at it again on Friday night from 9 at night until 4 the next day, maintaining a station in the plant. So I would like to recognize my guys and actually our good friends, Dean Bay at Chamberlain, for helping us get through that. We did not have one house back up during all of that, so.
Wow, wonderful, outstanding.
They did a great job.
Yes, they did.
Thank you, Art. Yeah. Mary?
Yeah, I mean, everything's really busy. The construction sites are trying to get that last push before the snow flies, get the asphalt down the last few weeks that the plants are open. So the field work's been active, and with the rain, I've been going out a little bit with Highway to look at some situations too. And then, of course, there's plenty to do in the office when I'm not out there. So it's been busy, but makes the days go by fast, so.
Josh?
Well, I'm happy to report that we finally received our tablets for our field inspectors. So our staff will hopefully in the very near future be able to take notes, photos, observations, and have it all automatically saved to our electronic system back at Town Hall. So it's a technology improvement that we're all looking forward to implementing. So that's all I've got.
Paul?
Now that the budget's approved, I'll be providing all of the necessary information to Monroe County within the next few days so that they can produce accurate tax bills. I'd like to congratulate Patty, Tom, and Ginny on the recent election.
Thank you.
Ginny is in the room.
Ginny is in the room.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Stole my
John?
thunder. That's what I was going to say.
I'm
Along
glad-
with, let's, have a very nice and safe weekend.
Thanks. Patty?
Two things, actually. Friday, we were having a birthday party in town for our Parks and Rec Center. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years since we cut the ribbon on that. So there are activities going on all day long and during the afternoon and into the evening. I'd encourage people to look at the town website or social media and see if there's something that doesn't look like fun, and come on down and celebrate with us. The other thing is next Thursday, I believe, is Veterans Day.
Yes.
And there is the Veterans Celebration in the village at the Gazebo Park. It is held at 11 o'clock. So I would encourage people to come out and recognize our veterans.
That's great. Barry?
Took the words right out of my mouth. Next Thursday, Veterans Day, and
Yeah.
the birthday on Friday, 10 year. Hard to believe, like you said, hard to believe that building is 10 years old. But the next Thursday is Veterans Day, and that's something that we should all really, really pay attention to and cherish. Where would we be without our veterans?
Absolutely.
Billy?
It's interesting to be back. I missed a lot of conversations while I was out with my knee, but I'm back, and hopefully I can get back to full strength and support the people of the town.
We thought that you planned this so that you avoided the 3-hour board meetings.
No.
You couldn't have been that clairvoyant to know that we were going to do it.
Besides, he saved a few for
That's
you.
right. Yeah, man. I saved you for last. Charlie, do you have any trouble to get yourself into today?
No, everybody said everything I was going to say. So congratulations to those who have been re-elected and newly elected, and also, I don't know, it's a happy Veterans Day, but
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody's remembering it, so good.
Yeah. And Dolly?
Monday, November 1st was the last day of school collection by the town. The county will accept payments till mid-November.
Great. And I'm going to just say, tying on to that Veterans Day wishes, which it is a happy Veterans Day. And Memorial Day is a little bit more of a somber. Veterans Day is celebrating our veterans alive and deceased. And, you know, I've thought that we always see people in the military, we say thank you for your service. Well, talk is cheap, and I don't mean, we should still say that. But I'm glad that the town board is going to show that we're just not talking about respecting our veterans. I think you're going to see in the next few months, we will move forward with, is it called the Cold War exemption, Patty?
Right.
Yes.
It was presented at a workshop a few weeks ago, and I think, you know, we will be moving forward on that. And that, to me, you know, actions speak louder than words. The town is gonna show that we respect our veterans, not just by having our lips flap. So, and I'm proud of that. And the board seemed to be in, well, we'll see when we go to vote on it, but was pretty in consensus that this was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I would like to do that sooner than later.
Yes.
And we should note that, should that pass, it won't be applicable to the 2022 roll
Yes.
because that's already been set. But the sooner we do that, it gives our assessor an opportunity to do all of the paperwork that she needs to do. And I think she said that she needs to get that in before March. So,
Yes, March 1st. yeah.
right, so if we could pass that sooner than later, I would really appreciate it. I know it's something that I've really been pushing for.
Yeah. I think we might be able to get that on the 18th agenda.
Good.
So, with that being said, I'm going to make that motion to go into executive session for the purposes of contractual negotiations and with a guest to the board of Town Attorney Genesi and Finance Director Adams. So, at
Second.
this, oh, sorry, second. You.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, and we will make sure, Dolly, that we give the time that we came out. But that will end the public portion of tonight's meeting. Thank you for coming, and also thank you for watching on TV or live stream and all that. And have a great night, great weekend.